I think it might be time for a little strop talk on the Apostle Pete channel. Stay tuned, guys. Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of, good golly, 28 June 2014. It was time to clean my strop. Can I show you what I mean? With steel, and it doesn't cut as well. Yeah, strops do in fact cut. That's the black stuff you see on the strop. What I use, and you can use anything that's got sort of a sharp 90-degree edge on it. I use the ends of my sharp maker rods. Just scrape down the length of my strop. Try not to take chunks out of it. Just removing the metal, roughing up the grain. While I was doing this, I'd kind of show you how I do it and how I redress my strop and give you some pointers on how I strop a knife and why I do what I do. It seems like I've had a lot of viewer questions about that lately, and I thought rather than type a bunch of hard to understand email responses, I would just kind of show you. I'm noticing on my strop that mine's getting kind of cupped on each end from where the tip digs in. Might be about time to either get a hold of Strop Man and order a new one, or maybe even make one myself, or make more than one. I'm not really fond of this two-sided deal because I use a gray compound, a rougher compound on this coarse side, and then a fine green compound on the smoother side. And I gotta believe I get some cross-contamination. I like to have two separate strops, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna wipe up my mess here. Make sure I got a nice clean table before I redress. Be right back. Okay, ready to start now. Some of you guys have watched some of my Edge Pro tutorials and seen me strap before, but I use two compounds and I keep them sealed and away from each other in these little Ziploc bags. And I use a gray rouge type compound, and the word rouge comes from red. It's a French word for red, and the reason we call this a rouge is because jeweler's rouge was a red wax carried abrasive used by jewelers, and these are the same sort of construction. It's like a hard wax, almost like a sealing wax, with abrasive material in it, aluminum oxide in this case. And the color just kind of gives you an idea what the grit or the coarseness or fineness of the compound is. This gray compound is somewhere in the 2 to 3 micron range, I believe, and the green is about 0.5 to 0.7, depending on where you source it from. So my gray goes on the coarse side of my strap, and the green on the smooth side. And here's sort of what it looks like now. You can see there's still some old compound on there. Most of the metal's been taken off, and I'm just gonna kind of give it a fresh coat. You just rub it on there until I see a sort of a nice fresh new gray hue. Don't want to overload it, cake it in there. That's not what we're after. But there, you can kind of see what that looks like. Looks like my tip area is where I'm cupped. I need a little more. Now, time to replace this thing, as I said. Okay, so there's the the coarse side. Just want to kind of make sure I don't have any laying around here. Put that down. My green side is still a virgin. Okay. This will show up for the camera a little better. You get more of a contrast with the green compound. Okay. Okay, now a little bit of a stropping tutorial. If you're just getting into knives or how to maintain them, sharpening, you probably hear a lot of guys on YouTube and you see a lot of people on forums, and there's what that looks like, by the way, talking about how stropping is the key to a sharp edge. You know, a knife's never really at its optimum until after it's done being stropped. You hear me say that, you hear Dino say that. I don't ever feel like a knife is done. I know there's things on that edge I don't want there until I strop it. However, like most of you who ever started sharpening knives, when I started using a strop, I did more harm than good. First of all, I got another one of these awesome the Apostle P diagrams that are like impossible to decipher. Okay, what I've done is draw 3 pictures here. The top one kind of indicates good, what a stropping motion should do. Okay, now here's the blade, a cross section of the blade, and we're pulling it in this direction along this surface of the strop. So as the knife comes back, pressing down into the soft pliable leather, it should create a depression that looks something like this. This angle here, the knife blade should have a little gap, a little separation right at the back where it hits that secondary bevel. So the primary contact is right at the apex of the edge. And then it should be at an angle a little steeper, maybe a degree or two, sharper, or a little more vertical than you sharpened at. And the amount of pressure you apply should leave that leather coming off the tip at a little more than a 90-degree angle. So we're not totally rounding the tip. That's going to clean up the apex of our edge without rounding it off. Now, these 2 pictures are both bad. This one indicates too much pressure. Our angle's correct, but we've got way too much pressure. We're pressing the knife blade way down into the leather, jamming it down in there, so when the leather rebounds as the knife passes it, it wipes right up that point and right around the apex of the edge, rounding it off. And then here's another picture that shows okay pressure maybe, but far too vertical an edge. See, here's the surface of our strop, and here's the angle of our knife. That's probably like 75 degrees. We don't want it that high, because even with moderate pressure, we're still digging way into the leather and causing that over 90-degree angle of the leather coming back, so we're wiping off the apex. This is bad with one exception. A lot of times when I get completely done on the fine side of my strop, I will make just 1 or 2 very light, like the weight of the blade strokes at an angle similar to this, just to wipe off any remaining tiny micro burr and leave a totally clean apex. But I'm talking about almost 0 pressure. That should not be how at the angle at which you strop. There is a third way that you can round your edge, which would be, well, this is kind of hard to illustrate. Let's see if I can do it so you can see it. If this is my knife and I'm coming along the strop, if I do this when I get to the end, if I roll the knife up, well, I'm just creating this condition right here, maybe worse. I want to talk a little bit about methods. And you guys who have watched my videos, you've seen me strop. I will kind of try to demonstrate that for you. let's see. Those are my clean sides. I'm gonna have to back this up just a tick. Wrong way. Okay. Since my Sabenza kind of needs to be stropped, you guys have seen how I do this. I have my strop on a non-skid base, and these were sent to me by a subscriber, and I cannot for the life of me remember who did it. But they're very hard, much harder than like the non-skid stuff you'd put under carpet or line your shelves with. It doesn't really have any give to it, which is good. He saw the old stuff I was using and saw it move a lot, so he sent me this, and it's really rock solid. So I like to have the strap down flat on a hard surface on a nice non-skid base so it doesn't move. And I strop stationary, and I put 3 fingers on the knife blade so I can feel how that edge is contacting the leather. I know I'm not riding too far back on the bevel, and I know I'm not digging the edge. I know I'm getting exactly the contact that I want. And I can't really explain to you how that feels. You're just going to have to probably make some mistakes for yourselves. So that's the method that I use, and that's why. These 3 fingers can feel 3 different spots on the blade, exactly what that edge is doing, interfacing with that leather at all times. Now there are a couple other methods I see people use. Nothing's right or wrong. I'm just kind of trying to show and tell you guys what I do and why. I've also seen guys, and I'm not going to do it with this knife because I probably have that right where I want it. So I'm going to put it down for a second. I see a lot of guys, and some of these guys are really good sharpeners. Dino is one of them. He'll hold a strop in his hand and freehand the knife blade across the strop, holding onto the handle. He also uses kind of an angle this way. I'm not saying anything's right or wrong. I just don't do it this way. I don't feel like I have as much control. I don't feel like it's as precise for me. That's another method. Another one I don't use, but I know is out there. If you're using a machine like the Edge Pro or the Wicked Edge, I don't know if I can do this, I'm sort of wrong-handed right now. They make strops, imagine this strop scaled down to fit in that bracket, and there are aftermarket suppliers of strops for the Edge Pro and the Wicked Edge, and basically you set your knife down in the machine and strop at that specific angle. There's a couple reasons I don't like that. First of all, going back to the diagram, this angle is not super critical. That angle can be, and to do it well, it can be slightly elevated from the strop, from tip to the shoulder of the bevel, and it could go up 5-10 degrees without causing any difference in the final product, as long as you adjust your pressure accordingly, and that's all feel. And if you guys remember what you saw on my hand and my knife, these 3 fingers feeling that edge all the way. If I'm using a strop on my Edge Pro, I've got one hand way out here on the handle of the knife, and I've got another hand way out here on this knob. So at any given time, my hands are 2-3 inches from that cutting edge interfacing with that leather strap, and I can't feel anything. And when I'm stropping, can't stress this enough, the feel of the contact of that cutting edge against the leather is far more important than the angle you're using. So that's me and my little soapbox there. And that's why, guys, that strap totally freehand, you know, in a method, you know, like this. That's why I'm not ever going to say that's bad, because their muscle memory in these two hands is used to feeling through that long lever of the strop and the long lever of the knife handle what that strop is doing at any given time. So you'll not hear me quibble with that, not at all. But those fixtured systems I think are great for stones, but once we get to the strop, bad idea. Here's the other thing I wanted to talk about too while we're here. You can overthink stropping. You know, I use these old school organic wax and aluminum oxide rouge compounds down to 1/2 micron. You can buy emulsions and sprays and super thin kangaroo leather on glass strops and diamond impregnated this and that. Guys, you're overthinking it. I'm sorry, but you're way overthinking it. Just way overthinking it. A good piece of leather, some rouge compounds down to 1/2 micron, which might be overkill in and of itself. All you're ever going to need, I promise you. I mean, I really promise you. This here old Sabenza, I think, had a major sharpening maybe last November, and all it's ever had between then and now is that strop. And I guess you could do better. I don't know. Probably. But do you need to? I don't know. You can spend a whole lot of money on stropping media and abrasive, but you're kind of getting to the point of, well, the old rock and roll band, The Police, had a name for that. It was initials MM. But it's kind of silly. You could be out using your knife, for goodness sake. That's all I have on stropping. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it was informative. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the Word and a knife fresh off the strop are sharp. Have a good weekend.